Pirelli World Challenge, but also in international GT racing, as a new era starts this year with the Saleen Cup and these remarkable S1 sports cars. We are ready for the first of two races to unfold here. History on history. Saleen on the track at Road America. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Rick Titus. And Rick, these absolutely beautiful cars come out on the track. It has been a development season as pieces and parts are being built, tested, developed. One thing we have seen from the off is speed and great potential along with beauty. There's no question of that. But as we're out on the installation and pace lap here, tell us quickly, for those who may be tuning in for the first time, tell us a little bit about these S1 machines.
Well, in all fairness, and I appreciate your patience and Calvin's patience and that of SRO, because we've been through a lot of teething problems the first two races, Portland and, of course, Watkins Glen. But slow but surely, they're getting the electrical bugs out of these things and making them work real well. And we starting to see their first completed sessions. These are 2,200-pound, all-American-made aluminum tub mid-engine cars. They are powered by an inline 2.2-liter turbocharged four-cylinder. And for those of you who scoff at that, that's 450 horsepower to you. That's no joke. They are showing at about 151 miles an hour right now down the back chute. We think by tomorrow they're going to find a bit more. Interesting how this gets broken up into two divisions. We've got a Pro-Am and we've got a Young Guns. And for those of you who think, well, what are you talking about? The Pro-Am guys are guys who do, in fact, have seats in pro cars from time to time and strong racing backgrounds, a lot of experience. But even a lot of the Young Guns, the new kids coming up, guess what? We got a Trans Am champion in that mix. So we got some kids with some strong backgrounds. We got 3 women in the series as we speak. And by the last race, which will be the season closer for SRO, we're expecting a 22-car field. So good stuff. The winner, each champion will be crowned, and they will have a paying seat ride in a GT4 Saleen next year. So two factory cars. So you know how hungry these kids are.
Oh, yeah, it's a couple of beautiful carrots that
Yeah,
they're looking at here.
Yeah.
The prospect of having a factory GT4 ride is very special indeed, as the field being led around. And the car that is the honorary pace car there, that beautiful orange Mustang, that's another of Saleen's works of art, isn't it?
Good point. And I believe he's on board and might even be driving. So
very nice.
Good stuff. But you're right, his accomplishments are great. And boy, you know, it was interesting, Greg, we saw some things after our last race where people thought Saleen was now doing Corvettes. These are not Corvettes. These cars, from engine to trans to chassis to body, are 100% Saleen. And that includes the engine, believe it or not. And I want to remind you, these cars were introduced 3 years before the Corvette came out, so they're not Corvettes.
Yeah.
A little shorter and a lot lighter.
And absolutely beautiful. On the pole, that Trans Am champion you were talking about, Cameron Lawrence, in the number 19, joined by a former Pirelli World Challenge GT champion on the front row, Brandon Davis, in the number 14. As they are getting ready to queue up. Starting third, a champion in Pirelli World Challenge competition, the points leader in the touring car division of the SRO Motorsports America program now, Johann Schwartz, in the number 6, alongside the number 2, Bryce Miller. Also a driver with a great CV. Starting in the 5th spot, the number 4, Paul Terry, a winner in touring cars this year in competition, and joining him for making his first start in the championship in the outside of row number 3 in the 6th spot, the number 15, Matt Keegan, who is point leader in the SRO America, the Pirelli GT4 East Regional, or the Eastern National Championship in the AM division. So those front 3 rows pretty stacked, but let's not forget about Carter Fartuk, who will start in the inside of row number 4 in the 7th spot. In the number 18, Lawrence Loshak.
Yep.
who anything he drives well. A former ice racer, SCCA national champion, and has done some Trans Am racing as well.
Should it rain tomorrow, he's going to be a problem. Yeah.
He is the guy. He is comfortable sideways. Nice to welcome to the championship who had a little problem in one of the runs here. Slated to be in the 7, Rico Schleiman, a very fast young driver. He will be teaming for this race with Molly Saleen, correct?
He might have slightly injured his car yesterday, enough so they felt they couldn't fix it here. So Molly Saleen, Steve's daughter, who's quick, has offered to sacrifice half the race by sharing it with Rocco, and he's a good kid. He's young. He's only 17 years old. He's trying to he's going to run Indy Lights next year. He's out of England, and they've run him all over Europe in Formula 3 and Formula 4. So he's got experience. It's just how can he apply it here? These are different cars than he's used to.
You bet. What an opportunity for him. And you know, you take a look when you've got you know, Eric Kern, who's the lead test and development driver,
The guy,
and the coaches that are here to be able to gain that knowledge, have that data reference, have that input. Very special indeed. Starting 10th, speaking of special, Austin Riley. Just a remarkable story for this young man driving the number 12.
it really is. Here's a young man out of Canada. Actually runs a couple of series up there and has won those series before. This is a young man with autism. Pretty quiet in the pit area. He's got to be comfortable before he really opens up. But, boy, I tell you, he's not afraid to open the throttle there, buddy.
Yeah.
He will get after it. And he is the current point leader in the young guns. Now, some of that's a function of his cars just ran a little better in the teething era, and now we'll see as they go to work here. And, of course, you can't rule out Hannah Zellers, who's also running a BMW here this weekend, just like Watkins Glen, double duty. Hannah's got a lot of talent and very quick.
Well, at the Glen, in that BMW, in the second race in particular, when she really got her head around it, she was fast, and she will be here. She's in the number 71 entry. Molly Saleen, as we said, sharing with Rico. And then Martina Kwan in the number 9 car, the other starter in this one. And she's had a couple of good runs. She had a 3rd overall finish in the first of the doubleheader races at Watkins Glen. And as you said, you know, there's a couple of people. And also, let's not forget, Eric Powell is going to be out in this one. He didn't get a qualifying time. Set the cars. They were working through some teething issues, but he, you know, also put together a great win at the Glen. And some of it is when you've got a car that is still in the development stages and might be a little quirky, might be a little fragile in certain areas. Well, you have to learn the racecraft to get the car to the finish.
And to his credit, I just want you to know, he didn't get to run yesterday in the second practice qualifying. He went to a corner and got on the radio with Molly Saleen and Martina, and he was coaching them through some corners, which I thought was really honorable of a guy who just won the last race. So.
Absolutely. Well, and Eric is, I mean, he is just a great guy. We've got to know him very well with everything he's been doing in TCA racing and the like. And we've always thought, boy, if he got an opportunity in a really fast car, it would be nice to see it. And he has delivered. And it's about time for this entire field to deliver as we are coming up. Clock has started. The green flag about to fly for the first of the doubleheader races of the Saleen Cup. Leading him to the green, Cameron Lawrence and Brandon Davis. Look at that absolutely beautiful field. There it flies. We are racing here.
So the most nervous person in the entire area would be Steve Saleen at this juncture.
Exactly.
Since he owns all these cars.
Oh, look at this. Davis not going quietly. He's going to sweep the outside.
He is.
And does so. Beautiful launch.
Yep.
Others going side by side through a very fast turn 1 here at Road America.
Well, those front three, I wouldn't want them in my mirror.
No, not at all.
Johan's going to be on it. Cameron is no way going to make that easy. So, Brandon, good job, but hang on. It's about to become very hard work.
Very intense. And one of the things I love about this program is you can get the historic Saleen graphic package, such as Lawrence is running it now, the car that's running in second, or you can get one of these historical art cars, if you will, the Gulf livery and the Martini livery and the like. Just a great part of the approach to this series here. And up the hill into turn 6 we go.
Well, that's all part of what we call Captain Anal Retentive. Steve Saleen is on every part of these cars. The decals are on at the angles he wants them at, and this whole graphics idea of going like that yellow and whites, that's when he and I won the championship in the 19 car back in '87. But that's a salute to that. And of course, a lot of you will recognize some of these European color combinations. And it tells me a very effective thing that we still remember how effective those were as advertising and promotion colors, because we remember these cars.
Oh, absolutely. It was very effective. And it's nice as this field has grown, seeing some of the other liveries with that marvelous historical significance. I mean, that car coming through right there, carrying the colors of the Gold Leaf Lotus era. I mean, that's the first time we've seen that car out, and it's just fun to watch it. And it's fun to watch Eric Powell, isn't it? He's already up 5 spots.
Yeah.
He is flying.
And we knew this was going to happen. The red car is a salute to Foyt and Gurney for Le Mans for winning that one. And then, of course, we've done a little crash testing at Watkins Glen. The 36 car was hit pretty darn hard against the fence.
Yes, indeed.
And guess what? It went back. The tub was not bent, and they have rebuilt that car, and it's working great.
love to hear that.
Yes.
And you know, that gives a driver great confidence to really push when you know a car has that level of protection.
Will protect you. Yep.
That's important as we come through. Davis over to Lawrence, then Schwartz. And then look at this battle here, coming up the inside. Big move by Carter Fartuk, and comes through, gets underneath Bryce Miller, takes that spot away. Beautiful.
And to give you an idea on Carter, in the second session, he'll be on the front row tomorrow. He qualified second fast, so Carter's got it. He just needs a little space to make it happen, and I know that kid's hungry. Really like he and his fiance, Gabby, a lot. Young man about to get married. I hope that doesn't slow him down, but it could happen. No, he's too hungry.
Exactly. Look at this. Powell now pulls out and is going to take a run at Miller.
Wow, that came off clean. Yeah, that was clean. Now Carter's going to have to worry about what's in front of him and now what's behind him.
Yes, and I'll tell you, somebody who figured her way around this car now, we were talking about what she did with the BMW, Hannah Zellers in the 71.
Yep.
Has glommed onto the back of this lead pack and is, in fact, starting to pressure.
You know her. She's not going to let go.
No, not even. Yeah,
so,
absolutely right.
Not only a beautiful young lady, but a very determined racer. She will not cut you loose. So look at Johan coming after it.
Yeah.
Oh, because Cameron's apparently having a problem.
All right.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Cameron's so
great pace.
Quick. Yeah, he did. It's going to be interesting to see if he can hang on here. Now, closing up, when these spec cars are so similar, it's not easy to close it up.
No, it's not. Yeah, Cameron.
Oh, I think I see a right front flat on Cameron's car.
Well, it's one of the things that happens in motorsports.
Yep. No, that's a shame.
It is. Oh, look at Hannah deep on the brakes.
Yep.
That's a livery that I recall well on that 71 of hers here in announcing World Challenge for so many years.
Well, Tim Allen and Steve Saleen.
You betcha.
Good stuff. They've all been playing with their brake bias because you saw Hannah's car moving around a little there. Tells me she's still a little heavy on rear bias. I think she'd like to move that a little further to the front just to calm that car down a little bit under hard braking. Look at her. She is all over this, guys.
Yeah, really in pounce mode right now.
Yeah, I'd go with that term.
As they come up the hill here, pressuring Matt Keegan. And you know, that graphics pack, that era you look at this, big move to the inside, down to the apex. Keegan shuts the door.
He did shut the door.
And Hannah respected that and dipped the brake and said, well, it's too early. You know, later in the race, you might force that issue just a little bit, but not now. But you know, you're thinking back to that era when Steve and Tim Allen were running, those press conferences I got to host with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
That was some of the funnest moments.
I got to figure, buddy.
Oh, it was a blast.
I got to figure. See, Hannah's having to recover a little bit from giving that spot up and not taking it. That costs you momentum.
Too bad.
You know, I was going through the bios on these drivers, and I got to tell you, 99% of them came in through karting. It's just amazing when these kids start so young.
Well, that's the thing. You know, you get somebody like a Rico, you know, that you're talking about, who's what, 17, and you
17.
think, boy, he's so young. How much experience does he have? Well, he probably has 8 years of hardcore kart racing.
Of racing, yep.
You know, underneath him. As Lawrence into the pits in the Saleen group. And again, I think it's very important to point out that what Saleen is doing is something that's pretty gutsy in doing a lot of the R&D at race events in the public eye.
Right out front. Yep.
Yeah, and so, you know, you don't like to see it, but you expect it to a point that some of these cars are going to have all these little moments. You come in, you fix it, and as we've known, Rick, we've been in this business for a while. When you've got a new program going, you fix the weakest link, make that strong. The next thing you're going to find is the next weakest link. And it just takes, it's a process. It moves
up the chain,
yeah, to get that chain solid. And that's just all part and parcel of it. And to the series credit, when they said, you know, we'd like to have these these races broadcast, you know, live on the web and the like, and it's like, you know, we were talking about it, and it said, well, you're going to be doing some testing and teething. There are going to be issues. And it was like, that's okay. We understand it. People will understand that. We want to showcase the potential of these machines, and that has never been questioned.
No, and bear in mind, these cars are almost identical to what will be offered for the street and the production cars starting next year. And And despite the fact that they look like supercars, they're only $100,000. I can't believe I'm using the term only.
But still, yeah.
In this class of performance and car, $100,000 for something that looks like this is pretty amazing. I think Hannah's had to work a little harder. I don't know if that twitchiness with a little bit too much rear bias is bothering her. I'm not sure she can easily reach the brake bias knob.
Yeah, you're right. She's just drifted back a little bit.
So she gave that spot.
Well, and, you know, I mean, Hannah's a pretty savvy racer, and she may have said, you know, I was close, I'm going to take my shot. But now, at this stage, there's almost 40 minutes left in this race.
Right.
If I push too hard, I'm going to take too much out of the Continental tires. And so she's just, you know, maybe conserving a little bit and looking for something. Let's get down as Austin Riley makes a stop in the pits. Check in with Ryan Marine, third member of our broadcast team.
Hey, thanks, Greg. Cameron Lawrence brought his car in just a moment ago. Unfortunately, you're out. The race started with such promise, given the pace that you showed throughout practice and qualifying. What has you out of the car early?
So we got a turbo issue that we've kind of been dealing with throughout the weekend, and we fix one thing and it just leads to another problem. So it goes back to just development of the cars, which they're getting a lot better. We're pushing them a lot harder, and we're finding new issues. So that's just kind of part of the way that this goes with testing and developing a new car. But it was fun to show some pace, you know, start on pole. You know, run around behind Brandon for a little bit, just kind of saving tires, and that's, yeah, unfortunate again to be ended up in the same place as Watkins Glen, but we're getting there.
To drive this car fast around a place like Road America, coming off of Watkins Glen, which is a fantastic place in its own right. I mean, the venues that this series goes to has to be a blast to be behind the wheel of these cars.
Yeah, for sure. These are my Watkins Glen and Road America, my top two favorite tracks. So to drive a car that's as fun to drive as this one is when it's working at these places, it's just a blast. So it's been a fun trip. You know, definitely not ideal for a driver's side, but you know, we understand what the team's going through, and they're putting a lot of man hours and money into the program. So it's fun to be a part of it. It's a bummer to end up here, but yeah, it's been a good time.
Well, sorry to have you out so soon. Better luck, hopefully, in race 2 tomorrow.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Cameron's such a talented driver, and I'm sure a little frustrated. But as he said, we're pushing them harder than we ever have. We expect to find little glitches. Brandon Davis may have just found one as well. Broken left rear suspension, it appears.
Yeah, it does. With all that tow out you and I just saw,
Yeah.
You don't want to drive a forklift at these speeds. So
No.
he's wisely chosen before there's bigger damage to bring it on in. Not that it would be plausible to go much further. Well, Johan.
Watch it here. Heading down into Canada corner, hard braking. Turns in, it looks good there.
It does.
I wonder if it was if he got this curb. Right there.
Yep.
Yep.
He's keenly aware. Boy, he kept it out of the fence. Thank you.
He did. Yep. He hit that little compression right at the exit of the curb.
Yep.
And again, when you are running, I mean, let me put something in perspective here. The pole for the SRO Pirelli GT4 America Sprint, 2:17.4. Cameron's pole, a 2:17.5.
Right.
We haven't seen them that close. They've been close, but not within a tenth of GT4 times.
Yep.
Which, as Cameron said, means we're pushing them much harder than we ever have.
Oh, they all admit it.
And we're discovering that next link.
Yep.
And you fix that, and it's going to have a few more of them. But you know what this is all about is by the end of this season, having these cars absolutely ripped and ready to go.
Oh, exactly. I can't. Boy, next year is going to be amazing. But last race at Watkins Glen, at Las Vegas, they're using the Roble. That'll be interesting to see. It's not my favorite road course, I won't lie to you. I think they've just come from a couple of mine, but
Yes.
that I really admire and respect. I like Portland. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but Portland's a good track, and you got to use your brain there to go quickly. Well, I tell you what, it's good racing, even though there's been some teething problems. They're bunched up and after it.
There's Bryce Miller, who was showing some speed earlier and had qualified up into the top 4 overall, and in fact, I think was third in the Pro-Am category. But look at this queue up front. Schwartz being hounded by Terry.
Yes.
And Powell easing into the pits, with Fartuk now sitting in third in that black and silver entry.
And these front two know each other. I mean,
oh yeah,
they've raced against each other before. And Mr. Terry has a bit of a rep for being aggressive. So
yes,
we'll see.
Yes, he does.
I don't know that pushing on Johan too hard would be smart, but okay.
Well, and, you know, Johan is the drift master too.
Yes, he
as
world
well.
record, as I recall.
Exactly. So he has immense car control.
Yep.
And that's one of his strengths is if, you know, as a car goes off, if the others are going off, his car control is really stout. That's going to make a difference. I'll tell you, Matt Keegan has been impressive here. Considering he started 6th, slipped back a few spots at the start, and has just methodically worked his way up, and a couple of guys in front of him retired. Ooh, big wide run there in turn 5 by Terry.
Yep.
Rick, that is a tricky corner that you're coming from immense speed down that long rush and then into a fall-away braking zone. It's just never easy at the end of the Moraine sweep.
It encourages you to overdrive it.
Yes.
And it takes so much discipline to know just how deep to take it in there. And you point in so much earlier than you would normally think. But as you can see, the guys at the front are figuring this out real quick.
Yes, they are having a very solid run as Schwartz leads Terry. 3rd overall is Carter Fartuk, who leads in the Young Guns category.
Yep.
But we just saw Bryce Miller make a move down to the pit lane. Ryan's found him.
Yes, he's out of the number 2 car at the moment. What has he out of the race?
We've been chasing some technical gremlins with the turbo and a clamp that's holding the manifold to the engine. So we lost boost and power, and you know, the cars are getting better and better every time we go out. They're a lot of fun to drive, but you know, each time out we just are getting a little bit better. So you know, I was looking forward to today, but you know, that's just how it goes. You can only control what's in front of you. So next time we get tomorrow, so we'll try again then.
Where have you seen the most growth and development out of this car from day 1 to today?
I mean, they've done an excellent job recruiting flying talent here. So a lot of familiar faces, experienced guys. So that's definitely propelling, you know, moving the whole program forward. So everything, again, is just so much better than it was at the Glen. But, you know, there's just little teething issues with the car, and as to be expected with any new car. I think we're getting really close and still having fun driving a race car, you know. So
hard to beat that, that's for sure. Better luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Ryan.
Great attitudes, Greg.
Absolutely.
I
well,
love how these guys are
and they
getting
understand the big picture.
Yep.
And that, you know, as we've talked about, you're going to find these little moments. But look at, we were talking about Hannah Sellers dropping off.
This
a
is
little bit. How
getting to
about
be a
this?
Duke here.
Yeah. And Keegan just forced his way through on Terry. And I think that may have begun earlier in the lap. Up into turn 1, we saw Carter Fartuk get inside Terry. I think it got Terry offline a little bit, disrupted his rhythm, and Keegan sensed opportunity.
Yep.
And was able to slide through. And that little bit of contretemps has allowed, again, Zellers to make up that little bit of a deficit. And we've got a 5-car scrap for the lead.
We do, and I know standing in his pit area right now is Steve Saleen grinning, because his dream has been that this would be a place for young drivers and Pro-Am drivers to show their skills and talent. There's Steve there, and he wanted this to be a battle, and it's just getting better and better and better. Hats off to him. Congratulations, Steve. This is the kind of racing you wanted to see.
Yeah, I think he got his wish.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're Carter right now, are you so glad he got it? I don't know.
Well, good point. Yeah.
Carter's got work on him. Carter and his fiancee, Gabby, are friends of mine. I'm just so proud of this kid. He's a good driving coach. Coaches a lot of new drivers coming in. I can't think of a better guy to get advice from.
Yeah. Boy, and look at that. Paul Terry defending now.
Yeah.
On Hannah Zellers. We talked about she may have backed off a little bit, save a little bit in those tires.
I think you're right about tires. They've talked about that, where some were going to use that strategy. So I think you've nailed that conversation.
Well, the interesting thing is you know, she's also, I'm sure, got a little sense of urgency now. She sees this lead group of 3.
Yep.
Starting to ease away a little bit. She said, I got to get by Paul if I'm going to have a run at this. Speaking of runs, Carter Fartuk is finding speed here at the halfway point of this race. Down to the inside, but look at Johan trying to out-deep him. Side by side through turn 1. Oh, Carter giving him the respect on the outside. They're still side by side. Down into 3. Can they do it again?
Ooh, now Johan's got to keep that door closed.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know, but Hannah had a pretty good spin yesterday with one of these cars, and she came back to me and she goes, okay, my BMW, I can run over the curbs. These cars don't like the curbs as much.
Yeah.
So a bit of a confession there. Gosh darn it, Carter, I'm proud of you.
Let it run.
He, you know, he's led before and the cars let him down, so I'm hoping it continues to run well for him as we continue to learn more and more about these cars. And this little battle here is only going to help him because these two wrestle with each other.
Johan had the back end. He got a little bit more on that exit curve at 5. And the way these curbs, they're graduated. The farther out you get, a little bit rougher the ride is, and it loosened them up. And I think Johan would have been willing to go side by side with Carter through turn 3, except that this pesky Keegan guy got his nose underneath, and he had to start protecting a little bit.
Maybe I should rush down to the pits after this and make sure things stay calm. Carter seizing that opportunity and saying, okay, you guys go ahead and Duke. I'm going to boogie out of here. They're coming to one of the corners I consider the scariest, and that's that kink leading onto the back, Greg. That's you got to talk to that right foot a lot.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sometimes you got to put your left foot on the
top
right
of
foot.
it. Yeah. Oh, so you know the pain.
Oh, Hannah.
Oops.
Talk about exploring the limits.
Yeah. You got to go with that term, are you?
Exactly. Got right to the edge of the track. Nice save.
Yeah, it was a good save because that's not a good place to leave it.
No, we were talking about that in one of the races we called just a little bit ago on one of the qualifying sessions. One of the drivers said, when you get that little bit of a quick, you know you've hit that curb just right, but when you start to hear the banging on the underside of the car,
that's not good.
Then you know you've pushed that limit just a little bit too much.
So here's our driver change.
All right.
I'm a little disappointed he wasn't ready. That was a 2-minute stop. Now he's taking gloves off. A little baffled why he wasn't better prepared.
Yeah, let's get down to Ryan as watch his style. He forgot his balaclava.
17-year-old kid.
There you go.
Oh, you guys hit it on the nose. That's exactly what happened. He was not expecting Molly to be bringing the car in so soon, and in the scramble to get ready, forgot the balaclava. So they're getting that sorted out. Give the credit to the Saleen officials. They noticed this. They came down and made sure he wasn't going to get in the car in a situation that was unsafe. And certainly safety is a priority. This is good experience for him, as you guys talked about earlier, but got to do it under the right circumstances, and all credit to the series for making sure that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah, good catch by them. And the nice thing is, like you said, there is a little bit of time here that you're not going to, you have a moment like this. You don't want to get into the habit of that.
As you saw Steve Saleen walking over there, Greg, and saying, hey, calm down, go slow, doesn't matter.
Yep.
You're here to learn. So it'd be good because that would rattle me. I'm not going to fib to you. I like to get in the car early, totally ready to go. And here he is having a flog right there in pit lane to get ready. I can't imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, it's got to be uncomfortable.
It
no
does.
Question.
They're going 150 while you're going 0.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
So
exactly.
Doesn't feel good. Good battle for the front of this thing. We got 2 Pro-Am guys on them, but we've got a young gun leading this thing right now.
Yeah, Carter Fartuk, he has put together a drive, considering that he qualified 7th overall, 2nd in the Young Guns class. And you can see why he's called the Young Gun. But look at Keegan. He is working on teaching this young man. And Carter defended, and Keegan got him to take that little bit of bait and went right around the outside. Now, Carter got a better run out of 5. But I'll tell you, Carter, he just learned a little lesson right there.
Yes, he did.
And you know what? That's all part of this as well. When somebody gets you with a little setup and executes, you bank that away and go, well, 1, I won't fall for it again, but 2, I might use it.
Well, and you know Carter well enough. We could call him on the radio and go, Carter, it's okay. He's a Pro-Am. You can let him go. Carter is not, as you can see.
Yes.
Does not care. It's a win overall, and I know he wants it.
Look at this, side by side. Man. And here comes Rico right out in front of this group.
You might want to turn the wick up, Rico. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Be polite. Let these guys catch. Oh, good boy.
Yep. Just point them through. All right. And they get through on Rico, and let's see, Schwartz. Now let's go back and watch this here. This is a thing of beauty. It's exiting the carousel through this incredibly tricky, fast, with minimal runoff kink. A lot of commitment in this corner. And Keegan getting a heck of a tow right now.
Yep.
And look at this. Carter went to defend early, and Keegan said, "Go ahead. You just opened my lineup, went right around." Now watch the exit though. As Keegan had to check up just a little bit. Carter almost got a run back at him.
Yeah, it's funny. One of those, and you know this, Greg, that sometimes you're a hero for it, and sometimes it bites you, because he could have gone to not defend, and Keegan would have drove under him. So,
Exactly.
That's one of those dang if you do, dang if you don't. And Molly did a good job. She brought that car back safe and sound,
She
and
did.
Had it running well. So now Rico will get a little bit more time, because he crashed out about halfway through qualifying yesterday, backed it in, and did a fair amount of damage to the rear of the car, but totally repairable. We just didn't have enough parts here to bring it all back. All right, Keegan is making his point.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Nice to see that car fire back up, and then number 12.
And that's a smart lady. She thinks, oh, here's our buddy Austin Riley. This is a young man with autism, but he's done such a good job all season. I love the attitude of all these drivers. They've been so patient about going through the gremlins. A lot of them give great feedback to help us on the cars. But Eric Curran is our pro driver that we use all the time to test and sort these cars, because most of these cars are brand new. Okay, they're coming in for their mandatory.
That's true. There's a mid-race mandatory stop, 2-minute duration.
2 minutes, yep.
You've got to get it done at some point.
Yep. All the guys were talking yesterday, all the drivers are saying the cars are pretty hot inside since they're still new and there's mechanical areas we need to get to. They're not fully insulated yet. And it was interesting seeing these young, in-shape young men and women getting out of these cars going, whoa, hot in there.
Feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. So hydration is important here.
And it's a coolish day here, but inside those cars, it is plenty toasty indeed. Let's get back down to Ryan.
With Molly Saleen here, your stint is over. I saw you get out of the car. You had a big smile on your face. What was that stint like?
That was great. The start of the race was very exciting, all of us together, and keeping up with the pack, it was so much fun.
Take us through your decision to ultimately share your ride this weekend with Rico and give him a little bit of an opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rico had a little mishap in practice yesterday, so his car wasn't able to make it out today, and wanted everybody to get a chance to race, so I decided to share my ride.
This style of racing is not really what your background is. Are you starting to get your head around road racing in a high-performance GT car?
Yes, and I'm loving it. I'm literally shaving seconds every time I go out there, and it's an incredible feeling. I love the road racing.
Awesome. Thanks as always for the time.
All right, thank you.
And it looks like, guys, that most of the field is taking this opportunity to do their mandatory pit stop, so it's a busy place down here in pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And, part of the reason for this stop is you've got drivers that are changing cars. You've got drivers that can run solo. And so you need to do something to make sure that things are equalized a little bit and that the duo driver combinations have a chance at it. And, again, as this is very openly a development season, it's an opportunity in the middle of the race to take a look at these cars and go, okay, what can we learn? Because you can test and develop. We've talked about this already this year. You can go out, rent a racetrack, and test and develop all you want. You never get the loads and the pressure and the stresses that you find in racing. And so you've got to get out and race them and then learn from it. So a lot of this is just data acquisition for the engineers.
It's funny. I told Eric that you said that last time we were on the air together, and he goes, he's right. He goes, I can hammer all day out here, but until you make it so competitive, I've got to lean on everything. You're not going to find it all. And I love the attitude that these drivers have shown. And I'll be candid with you, the two that win the championship will go on to GT4. But look for most of these drivers, through courtesy of Steve, to be back next year because they've shown such great patience, such great feedback. And he likes all of them. They're all very likable and good potential. Now, we've got other people looking, and you can join this series by getting involved with the Saleen S1 Cup. There's still seats available for next year, and the championship carrot, like you said, pretty big carrot. So here they come.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think it's important for you to point out that as you just did, that this is something that this isn't only by invite. If you want to drive these cars, ask them.
Yep, these seats are available. You can book these seats. So it's full crew support, full catering support. They treat you like gold. Every one of these people are having a great experience, and you can see how the smiles when they come out and the attitude when they come out.
I will admit that the Saleen area and the hospitality compound is kind of Taj Mahal-like.
It is, isn't it?
It's pretty sweet. But what I like about it is there are other series where, you know, one of the big things is the hospitality, and the competition is okay. That's part of it.
Yep.
Not here. It evolves and revolves around the competition. The rest of it is very top notch, but it's ancillary. Oh, look at Hannah. She is, or is that Rico?
That might be Rico.
I think that's Rico. Yep.
Rico's finding the edges kind of the hard way, but okay. You got to admire the kid's courage.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know if Steve Saleen admires it quite as much as we do. You know, Rico's young, and somewhere the ambition and experience have to meet.
Yes.
And
yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure they've collided quite yet. We'll have to see. Interesting, the gap now set up by that pit stop. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't come out a little tighter together. But let's see if they can turn this back into a battle again.
They've done that a few times in this race.
They have.
Formed up into some nice battle groups. And in terms of Rico running wide there, we're talking about the limit, there was a legendary driver of the past that said, you know, when you don't have a lot of time, the quickest way to find the limit is to exceed it.
Yes. I've never adopted that as a moniker.
Me either, but I respect it.
I respect it. But, yeah, I guess I don't feel like a 22-year-old anymore.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, there you go.
You know?
There you go.
So, love to see these three get bunched back up again, because that leads to a great battle between them.
Yep.
Good stuff. And again, the street cars are nearly identical, albeit with much more luxurious interiors and obviously street tires. These cars spent nearly a year in the wind tunnels of a university in Europe, massaging every ounce of horsepower and downforce combinations out of them. They've worked hard to make these cars work the way they work.
Look at this now. Schwartz continues to lead with Keegan.
Yeah, Keegan has now, he has closed it up. We'll see
Yep.
if Carter can get in the middle of this battle, because as these two start tying it on a bit, that may slow them down just enough for Carter to catch up.
Then there's that gap you're talking about, back to Terry and Zellers. And Keegan showing the nose a little bit.
Yep. It's what you got to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
The mirror dance.
Oh!
And Johan showing his car control.
He did.
That's
he
right,
did.
Captain Drift.
Yep.
Johan has the world's record for longest drift.
Yes. They actually had to refuel
While
the
sliding.
car during the drift.
I
It was
couldn't
just
believe it.
unbelievable.
So
Yeah.
he's got car control.
You think mid-air refueling's tough.
Yeah.
Mid-drift refueling, that's
Yeah.
pretty tricky stuff.
It is tricky.
All right, here we go down through turn 8. And I think that big slide by Johan at 5, I think he was anticipating Keegan maybe trying the undercut.
Yep.
So he wanted to pinch the exit a little bit and not give him quite as much room.
I would have wanted to do that. I don't know if I have the skills to recover what he just recovered, because that was a pretty good drift he had going there.
You can see the different turn-in points there.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, again, he's got to keep the door kind of shut,
Yep.
but not give up too many RPM doing it. And Carter's probably grinning, going, "Go ahead, you guys. You two pro-ams duke it out, and I'll inherit what's left."
Well, that's a good point. Carter, of course, running young gun and leading that category over Zellers right now.
And that'll be valuable points to him.
Yes.
Because Zellers has had a win at Watkins Glen in these cars.
So at what point, this is one of those questions. Do I push and push and push, knowing that there are still some, fragile issues potentially on this car?
Right.
Do I push to get up and run with these pro-ams for the overall, or do I conserve a little bit and just make sure I get the win points over Zellers? That's part of this learning curve for these young guns.
It is, and yet you're right. That's where it falls into experience.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to learn these lessons the hard way.
Late move by Keegan.
Keegan, I don't think Johan's going to give him that, though. I don't think you're going to mirror dance him as easily as some of these younger drivers.
No.
Johan will turn around and win another race today as well. So a lot of experience. Mr. Keegan knows this place well and has the background to know what kind of battle tactics, or what they call racecraft, you got to have here.
I'll tell you, Keegan has, in my mind, the last couple of years has been a revelation, because he's one of those guys, he does, so close. And, oh, nice move.
Boy, if he pulled son of a...
Oh, and he over, but so did Johan.
Yeah, so did Johan, trying to hang on to it.
I think Johan thought if he turned in that Keegan might get into him, so he left that wheel open.
Yep.
But yeah, that just gives you an idea here of just how hard these two guys are pushing.
Do you think Mr. Saleen's wringing his hands right
No,
now?
I would think so. I would think so. Watch this here now, down into 5.
This is good racing at any level, man.
Locks it up. See the little puff of smoke, so
Yep.
he runs wide. But Johan was on the limit and just could not cut down underneath.
He drug that left rear in,
Yep.
and it'll be a little flatter on one spot than it was. But and again, I think Carter's probably going, okay, guys, keep it up.
But there you can see what I was talking about. Keegan's racecraft.
Yep.
He really, I mean, he's one of these guys that only started racing a few years ago.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't know it watching this, buddy.
no. And he comes out. I think that's Loshak who's back out again.
Yeah.
But you watch Matt, and you know, the first thing you realize is that, you know, when we first started seeing him a couple of years ago, it was he's got natural speed. His racecraft needed work. He just didn't have the experience, but he had natural speed. Then last year in the World Challenge GT4 category, had an overall pole for one of the qualifying runs.
Wow.
And you went, all right, this guy is just flat fast. He has got natural speed. Now his racecraft's coming around, and he was just racing one of the most experienced guys in this field.
No kidding. He
And
is. Yeah.
sold him a couple of dummies, had him bite. I mean, Matt's racing well.
Yep. No, he's done a good job. I tell you, there is no low talent in these cars right now. And at the front, it is all high talent stuff. All guys you're going to be hearing from for a long time.
You bet. Look at that. Keegan knew he had to defend into 1 now because
But Carter's slowly creeping up on him.
he is. Well, every time you have those little bobbles,
Yep.
that eats away some momentum. And if Carter just keeps hitting his marks, we know he's quick. He's going to close it up.
I see our 17-year-old's been off again.
Yes.
Puerto Rico. It's not coming quickly to him, apparently.
I wonder if he may have a cut tire on this
Yeah,
one.
he may have done it to himself.
There's an angle on that car that wasn't.
And Carter said to me yesterday, he goes, I'm going to save some tires. I'm not going to just burn these things down.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
think
this is
looks
Hannah
good.
struggling as
Yeah,
well.
why she went by pit entry, I don't know. It
Yeah.
looks like she's going to swing in to park it.
It's interesting.
Yeah, she's going to put off. That's a shame. That'll hurt
Yeah.
her on points.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. And for Carter,
Look who's coming to this battle here, slow but sure.
yeah,
Well, they got 11 minutes yet, buddy.
yes, they
Put this
do.
out.
And if I'm Carter, and I hope the person talking to me on the radio is telling me the struggles that Zeller's having,
Yep.
and that your third place car, Riley, is having some issues as well and is back in the pack, don't necessarily worry about getting up and joining this overall battle. Save this car, get winner's points for your class.
You're right. That would be great advice.
Yes.
But a hard sell.
Probably, yeah. I've got a taste of this here. I'm liking this.
Yeah, I had the lead. I like nobody in my windshield for
Yeah.
a while. So let's see what happens. I'm so pleased to see these cars being driven this hard, and they are holding up. Oh, she's got a flat. That's what she's trying to deal with.
That's Rico, actually.
Yeah, oh, Rico, excuse me, trying to
Yeah.
get back to the pits. That may have been self-induced with all the off-roads.
And the curbage.
Yeah,
That's
these
the
are
problem here.
these are great slick tires, these Continentals, but they don't like abuse. They've proven not to tolerate that well.
Very few tires do.
Yeah, come to think of it, yeah.
And the issue is oftentimes it's not being on the curb. It's when you run wide, drop the tire off the back edge of the curb.
You're right.
And it just grinds on the inside edge of the tire, that back edge of the curb, which is usually far rougher.
Yep.
And that can create the
and
issues.
sidewalls are not designed to do
No.
that, so they're not supposed to be part of the traction coefficient.
Yeah,
component.
they're support, not contact patch.
Right, exactly right. If it's going well, yes.
Exactly.
Right now,
This is interesting, and I was just going to point out here is, as the old saying, there's leading and there's following, and sometimes it's just easier to follow because you got the reference point up in front of you, and so I'm wondering if right now it's going to be interesting to see is Johan watching Keegan and going, all right, when I get into the final 5 minutes, where can I attack?
Good point.
See what happens.
Well, that's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
We just saw how that small bobble required that driver to lift his foot and then get back in it, where he really would have been in a linear fashion after the gas pedal very hard.
Yep.
So it shows you a small bubble. Well, Yeah, that tire's
Just trying
still.
to get him. He's doing a brilliant
Yeah,
job.
actually, the kid's doing a good job of getting the thing back. As long as he stays sensitive to the fact not to go too quick and tear the bodywork all up.
No, he's doing a nice job.
He
He's
is. I got to give him credit
not
for
letting
that.
that bodywork get destroyed here.
Yep. Yeah,
Well, and we've talked about getting back to you're talking about the momentum. Is that these are very fast, powerful cars, but they're identical.
Yes.
So a loss of momentum relative to the other cars
Boy.
is going to be very significant.
Great point to bring up. 'Cause
So,
it's your only advantage.
Yes.
You know.
oh, Keegan coming up on some traffic now.
Yeah, but he'll use it. You notice that? Watch, he'll use it. And let me just block this road completely by using the car.
Slide through. Now, Johan is going to be desperate to slice by the number 9 here, Michelle Kwan, and does.
Yeah, Michelle's good about this.
She left a nice gap. Oh, look at the run by
And
Carter.
Carter is on him now.
Yeah. Yep, I think Johan was just being very, very careful and cautious. Did not want to create any issues for Michelle.
Yeah, would she turn in on me?
Yep, or himself.
Yep.
And that you can see Keegan got a little bit of a gap built up, but it gave Carter a huge run, and Rico has made it in.
Yep, and Carter is now in the draft. So let's
Yes.
see what happens now. We're down to 8 minutes. Well, I wouldn't want to be touching that wheel.
No, here we go. You were right. Carter had that draft. You were spot on. Now, though, does Johan out-deep him and try and do the outside, or is he going to cut underneath? No, just decided to roll corner speed here.
I know, but it's no relief passing Johan because now, bummer, he's behind me.
Yeah,
Do I really
that's a
want him
good
there?
point. Yep.
So it's good, and it's not so good. Here they come again, 150 mile an hour down these straights, just a click over. 106 mile an hour lap averages. Can you imagine?
Average speeds.
Yeah, incredible.
This track is fast, and these cars are up to it.
Yeah, this track is fast, my friend. I don't know anywhere we go that would be quicker than here. Do you?
I think, CTMP up in Canada, what they used to call Motorsport.
Okay.
Because it's just all these. If you've got a high downforce car,
Right.
it can be faster than here.
You know,
But it's got to be a high downforce car.
Motorsports, yeah, that's to separate the real race drivers from the guys who think they are.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a great couple of days of coaching from Jackie Stewart, and I asked him as I got to know him better. So, Jackie, scariest racetrack in the whole world? He goes, oh, easy, Mosport. I mean, instantly just crashed me.
Yeah.
And you think of all the tracks that man had raced on in
Yes.
Formula One and whatnot.
Well, the old turn 2 before they paved that runoff at Motorsport was attention getting.
Yep.
Let's put it that way.
I didn't necessarily always look forward to one either.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
That fence was
true.
close.
Yep.
So it's got a few spots. But
Boy, are they giving us a nice run here. Paul Terry, he's just back. He hasn't been able to make inroads.
he
into
has no
this lead
drafting
trio.
partner. Yep, he's got no one to help him.
And the problem is for him, because he's got a sizable lead back to Powell.
Yep.
And so as a result, there's just nobody to work with here.
Yep.
But
Wow.
he's third in Pro-Am, Terry is. So
I don't see a Johan immediately behind here.
Good
Uh-oh.
point. Well, we watched Johan. That car was sliding a lot.
It was
and
sliding a lot. You're
I
right.
wonder if he
Ran it out of tire or
maybe
it ran out of tire?
or had a tire issue. Or something.
Yeah, gosh darn it, I hope not.
Yeah.
Well, now Carter's got the bit between his teeth,
Yep.
but the gentleman he's taking on has that bit every much as
Yes.
and his yap as well. Yeah, Johan's slowing up. So we don't know if it's a turbo issue or a tire issue.
Well, and if it's something mechanical, he's on the radio, saying, all right, is it better for me to pit and try and fix it, or with 5.5 minutes, do I just stay out and try and get some points here?
Boy, legitimate point.
Yeah.
Legitimate point.
Problem is you've got to look at the lap time referencing Terry and Powell behind you.
Yep. Oh, good point. Yeah, that gap. What have I got?
And that shrunk because it was up a lot more. But that last lap, Schwartz ran a 2:33 to Terry's 2:22. So Terry's coming.
He is. And I can tell it's not a tire issue, so we're probably looking at another one of the turbo attachment issues.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, these engines, you talked about the size of the engine. They are not a huge displacement power plant.
2.2.
But they make big power, and that means you're putting a lot of pressure through the piping. And here comes Terry.
Yep, Terry's going to pick him off.
Yeah. So that's just.
I should tell you also, Greg, because I don't think you know this, this is the first race where the drivers have been allowed to trim out their wing and adjust the length of their splitter in the front. So this is the first time they've been allowed to play with that according to their tastes. And we don't know that everyone guessed the right way because, again, lack of experience.
Yeah, very good point. Obviously, this is a track where there's a couple different schools of thought. Everybody, your first thought about this track is always trim it, trim it, trim it, trim it, because it's long straights.
Then you get to a corner and go,
Well, and especially corners that go on forever, like the carousel.
The
and
carousel?
The kink, you can lose huge amounts of time.
where you're begging for downforce.
So you need a little something.
Yeah,
You know.
and I know with the kink, I'd be begging for downforce
Yes.
too. So yeah, it's a hard call. Everything's a compromise in these deals.
Yeah.
Everything.
I have to say, one of the greatest drives I've ever seen in my life. This was 15 or 20 probably years ago here in the heyday of Formula Atlantic as that pro feeder
that
series.
series was so
A
competitive.
Canadian named Claude Bourbonnais
Yeah.
got hit on a early caution lap and it broke his rear wing, and they pitted and they just took the wing off, and he went back out
No wing?
and ended up with a podium.
Oh my God.
And it was amazing because he was like a top fuel dragster down the straights, but it handled like one in the corners. And watching him sideways through the carousel, through the kink.
What
and
a
those
show
three-
that must have been.
It was spectacular, spectacular.
Wow.
So you have that kind of gift, you can make it happen. But
And there are guys like that. Vivanu
There
had
are.
that kind of skill too. You know,
yeah.
a guy that could drive sideways and win.
3 minutes to go.
Good battle.
And you
here.
know, just here's a little comparative thing. I think for for people watching it and thinking about these turbo issues. When Dan Gurney, when they first built the Eagles that ended up decimating the GTP championship in the hands of Fangio and PJ Jones.
Yep.
That was a 2.1 liter
That's right.
4-cylinder engine that they were pumping 90 pounds of boost through, and that was their biggest developmental issue.
Really?
And so right now, Steve Saleen is, with what they're doing in this, pretty august company because you're pretty serious numbers that you're working on these things, and you're going to find those little weak points. That's what this is all about.
Looks like Terry may have run over some curbing. I see a little bit of underbody work dragging slightly into that car, which will affect its aerodynamics. These things are very sensitive aerodynamically because they've been designed to be.
Yeah. This is interesting here. Powell right now, I'm curious to see because Schwartz last lap was a 250. Powell ran a 235. So Powell having his own little issue here.
Yeah.
But, and see, I think Powell, with the earlier issues, he's down a lap. So Schwartz should be okay here.
Oh, okay.
In that top 4 position, third in his class.
Third in the class, so points. He's still getting points.
Yep. All right, and we're running laps in the 2:18s up at the sharp end of things, and so this will be. We should be seeing the white flag coming out here.
You know, that's a half second off qualifying on these used tires.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
These guys they're finding everything these cars have. Okay, probably going to get one more lap out of it, bud?
Yep, white flag. I'm thinking should be flying this time.
Well, it turns out the Voigt Gurney colors are leading again, huh?
They are indeed.
Well, Steve wanted it to be a salute to those two cats.
Well, it was an amazing victory at the time, and for those who are real historical buffs, it was Dan Gurney invented the spraying the champagne.
That was, in fact, that event. You're right. Yeah. It's funny because I never thought of A.J. Foyt, who could drive anything, but I never thought of him as an endurance driver. Gurney, we got it. We understood. Captain Clean, Captain Smooth, and Mr. Fast. But I didn't think that I could count on Foyt not to mash it a bit. But he pulled it off. Yeah. And it was just the two of them. That's when it was two guys doing it. Not four.
Not four. Yeah. All right. Powell, saw him a little off pace.
Yeah.
In the back, so.
Check get by him.
Checker Quan, possibly.
Yeah, and maybe.
This will be interesting.
Where's that? Mr. Austin Riley would like it.
Yeah, exactly. I think because of that additional stop, Austin might be yet another lap down to the field. So that's going to be.
I'm seeing that it's not going to be enough in this time left. Good job, guys.
Keegan.
Good job, man.
I was talking to Matt earlier in the weekend, and he said, "I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm going to be running the Saleen Cup." And I said, "No." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Talk to them. They had a car available, and they asked me if I'd be interested." So I went and chatted with some people, and he said, after talking to a couple of the guys that have driven this, I went back to them and said, "Yes, please."
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
And look at this. He
Apparently
might,
it's worked out.
In his debut, he's likely, regardless of what Carter does, Matt's going to win a class probably.
Yep. Well, I don't think Carter's got anything for him at this juncture. I think Carter's just being smart now.
You got to be.
Yeah. I'm getting the trophy and I'm getting the points.
Last time through Canada corner.
They're both being real clean. Nobody's overdriving.
There's the Billy Mitchell turn. Remember the old Billy Mitchell bridge right here?
Tragically, I do.
You see that white flag flying, and that was for the 36, the low shack, just moving slowly here.
However, in NASCAR, I found out the hard way that doesn't mean slow-moving vehicle on track.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way, unfortunately, in qualifying.
All right, here we go. Matt Keegan in his debut in the Saleen Cup wheels the S1 to a win overall and in the Pro-Am category. But what a run by Carter Fartuk.
Yep.
Second overall, top of the Young Guns.
Nice job. Nice job for both. I'm thinking Matt's saying, no, this was a good call for me to take this ride.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here comes Paul Terry, who will be third overall, second in the Pro-Am category.
Yeah.
There's the number 9.
There's Ms. Kwan.
Ms. Kwan.
Whose sister is apparently a well-known actress.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, indeed. So Terry will end up with a third and a second in class. Nice run.
Yep. Well, this is double the amount of cars we're used to seeing finish this stuff with teething problems.
This has been great.
And they've been battling.
Yes.
It's not been a light run. Good job, guys.
You know, the interesting thing for me is after we were watching Johan, he ran those 2 or 3 laps in like the 245s, 250s. His last lap was a 227. So he figured out some kind of workaround.
Yep.
And was able to get some speed. So he'll finish 4th, 3rd in Pro-Am. Powell will finish 5th overall, 4th in Pro-Am. Michelle Kwan will finish 6th overall, 5th in Pro-Am. So nicely done.
Yeah, good job.
And you know, obviously the other side of the equation is the what if. What if Zellers? What if Davis? What if Miller? What if Lawrence?
What if Johan
wouldn't have had their issues here?
Yeah.
But again, this was running now, and yet taking this to another level of performance.
Yep.
The development engineers are learning a lot about, okay, here's the next things we need to work on to get this car up to its full.
And if you're down on the compound, you see a lot of development engineers.
Yes, you do.
They're the guys in the white shirts.
Yeah.
I'm going to bolt out of here. Thank you. I'm going to go to Victory Circle and hand out some trophies.
Pleasure, my friend.
Well, as always, good seeing you, my friend, and I will see you tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You be
Thank
safe.
you so much. Will do.
Yep.
And there are some of that Saleen racing staff as they are no doubt discussing what has unfolded in this one and what do we need to do to make these cars faster still and add in that reliability component to what is clearly a performance envelope that is pretty impressive already. And watching Matt Keegan make his way around, enjoying this opportunity. And of course, it's not often you make your first appearance in a series and win it. And for Keegan, he has just done that. This is pretty cool. I'm sure he's going to be savoring this lap. You can see the big wave there. And let's take a look now at our provisional results. Keegan with the overall win and the Pro-Am win. Carter Fartuk, second overall. And you see if you've got a red block behind the white number, that is a young gun category. So look at the big points that he's going to be making here over Riley, Zellers, and Lawrence. But then Terry with a third, Schwartz fourth, Powell fifth, Kwan sixth, Loshak rounding out the 7th spot, Riley, the Canadian in 8th, the Saleen Schleimun pairing in 9th, and Hannah Zellers running in the 10th spot. And then Davis, Miller, and Lawrence. And as Rick was talking about, every race that we've been seeing this year, and certainly the ones that we've been fortunate to broadcast here, at every race we're seeing the two things that they want to see: faster times at every race and more cars finishing at every race, which in a way is pretty impressive because when you go faster, you find, as we've talked about, the next link you need to work at in the chain, and they continue to get more cars to finish as well. So this is really nice. But for Matt Keegan, like I said, you hop into a car and a series for the first time, battle like he did, and then end up with a win. You savor these. There's no question of that. He's just getting everything unplugged. The belt's undone. Radio, drinks bottle, Hans harness. And stepping out into that hallowed ground of Victory Circle at Road America. What a drive. That's going to light his fuse here. He was out, did some qualifying for the Pirelli GT4 Sprint X Championship earlier. Wins this, and then we're going to see him racing this afternoon here as well in the Pirelli GT4 America Sprint X Championship presented by Window World. So Matt Keegan has got himself a busy day, but not a bad way to finish off a morning with a win. What a beautiful venue this is. Look up the hill there, the exit of turn 7. Down another of the tricky downhill braking zones down into turn 8. And just so many wonderful corners at this amazing facility. And we think we've got Carter Fartuk has climbed out of his Young Gun winning car, Ryan.
That's right, Carter. A win in the Young Gun class, and boy, you were in the mix there for the overall win. Were you thinking about that at all, or were you pretty focused on getting the job done in your class?
To be honest, my mind was kind of fluctuating between those two thoughts because I saw the 19 of Cameron Lawrence. He was spectacular all weekend so far. I saw him drop out, so I was like, you know what, I just gotta kind of play my race. But then I was staying right there with everybody, and I was like, yeah, why not? You know, why not try it? So yeah, I mean, I tried to get the overall win, but my tires just kind of went at the end of the race. So I was just started to think, you know what, I'm just gonna win my category for now.
You were in the midst of some really fantastic battles on track. How much fun was that in this car at this track to be mixing it up like you were?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, these Saleen S1 Cup cars are so fun to drive, and I know, you know, at the beginning it took a little while to get them sorted out, but that's going to happen with brand new racing series, brand new cars, and now they're just so fun. And I think it shows the racing that we had on track. It kind of shows what this series can bring and how fun it can be.
How do you try and go out tomorrow and repeat this performance in race 2?
Well, I'm starting second overall, first in class tomorrow, so just honestly just going to try to stay as clean as possible through the first half of the race, and then second half just try to go for it. Just try to save my tires as much as possible.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a pretty savvy head right there. I love how he said I was conflicted. I was thinking about both of them, and then I started to feel the tires and went, all right, that's kind of going to have to decide it for me here. And that's what he opted to do here, and it was a smart move, bringing him the win in the Young Guns category. And he certainly showed some pace. But I'll tell you, Ryan, I've said it a few times here, winning in your debut race in a car and in a series doesn't happen often, does it?
Yeah, not bad at all. Debut for you, Matt Keegan, here in this series.
Yep.
Didn't really have the qualifying that you were hoping for because of some mechanical issues, but man, you turned that around and had a heck of a race.
Well, the guys did a great job last night getting the car sorted out. These cars were fast, you know. So yeah, we had a little issue. No big deal. We got it fixed, and the car was ready for today. You know, doing double duty this weekend, I was late to grid because I had just gotten out of another car doing qualifying. So came down and had to start last, and that's a good enough motivator for me, you know. So yeah, car was great, performed really well, no issues. So we're looking forward to tomorrow and see if we can do it again.
I was talking to Carter a moment ago about some of the battles that he was involved in. You were in the thick of those too. How much fun was that?
Oh, it was great. You know, it's always fun to be able to race, you know, and you know, when you have a lead or you're out in a gap by yourself, whether you're first or fifth, whatever, that's kind of boring. But it's fun when you're in the mix of people, and you know, I've learned from one of the best, Ian James. So I was just playing my little, you know, maybe I'll pass you here, maybe I won't type games, you know. So it all worked out.
Congratulations.
Hey, thanks to the Saleen team and the program, R3 Motorsports, and wife and kids, Sarah, Cole, Sophie, love you. See you at home. Thanks.
Dad did good. It's the only way you can look at that. And take a look at some of the highlights, and there's a beautiful move from your outside front row qualifier, Brandon Davis. You go to the lead early, but this one was just chock full of some great drives and the like. We want to remind everybody that the second of these races will be unfolding on Sunday afternoon here. You want to tune in around 4 o'clock on the web stream here to pick this one up. And there you can see the move that may have been for the win. Keegan working around the outside of young Carter Fartuk. Put him up in the front. And when Johann Schwartz had his little issue mechanically, that was the one that allowed Carter and Keegan here. This was a fun moment. Here's Keegan underneath Schwartz. There's a lot of this that was unfolding. And there's Rico Schleiman bringing the car down into the pit. So that's rounding out our first race of the doubleheader weekend for the Saleen Cup here at Road America.